Hey everybody, how you doing? What's up? Episode 4, Maxx Fan install. Woo! This one was a killer. So what I've done here is I'm creating a frame for the Maxx Fan underneath. So I need to create this frame for to have something for the screws to go into when I drill through the roof, because the skin of the roof itself isn't enough. So I've created these. So what I've done is I've used my chop saw. The gap that I need in the centre is 40 centimetres or 400 mil. So what I've done is I've chopped these to length, and then what I've done is I've used the chop saw, measured halfway, and cut these grooves in the side here, and then this is just going to all go together to create a frame, which I'm then going to glue, and I might even put just one screw through at the corners, each of the corners, and I just need to make sure that it's all square, so that I've got, like I say, the right square fitting, and I can use that to help me measure and draw out on the roof of the van, to get a good shape for when I cut the holes in the van, which I was a bit scared of, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I'll put this together and come back to you with it all screwed together. So here's the frame all made and clamped. Just stuck it together, used some Gorilla Glue, wood glue, and then just checked using my square that everything is on the square on the angles here. And then I'll check the measurements, so all the corners are nice and square, and I'll just check the measurements to make sure it's still 400 mil across on each of through the centre points, and it seems to be there, so really pleased with that. So I'm going to use that then to help me mark out my hole, and then to attach to the bottom for the screws to go through from the roof down. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so roof day, and we're trying to cut the hole in the ceiling of the van for the Maxx Fan. Went up onto the roof to try and do it, and with the frame that I'd already done, it was still wobbling around, so it's really hard to get a line on exactly how I was going to mark it out. I marked it out with tape, but still I wasn't happy about getting an accurate line, so I decided to come inside to try and get the right aspects and get the right the right outline for the frame, so it was accurate if I'm going to cut a hole in the roof of my van. So we started to do that and came across a few problems, so I'll flip the camera around so you can see what we did. So the problem we had was obviously trying to get an accurate alignment on it so that it was in the centre of the roof. So we taped it out so that we had something to draw on, and then what we did is we took the frame and made a cardboard template of the dimensions, and then used actually the cutout centre to then tape that to the roof, and then draw around it, and then take it away and just check it was in the right position, which it was slightly out, so then we had to do a little juggle of about 2.5 mil just to move it across to get it in the right place. So now that we've done that, it's all ready for cutting, and actually what we decided, because it's so icy still, is that we're going to cut from the inside, which I don't know whether that's ideal or not, or whether that's a problem, but hopefully, apart from having a very sore shoulder and arm, I should be able to cut that. So we'll get on to the cutting. Okay, so we've got the hole cut in the ceiling now, and I've filed it down just to smooth it off a little bit, hoovered up all the bits of metal, and I'm now going to get my frame, Sikaflex it, clamp it to the roof, before I then go up on the roof and start drilling through and doing anything there. So I'll do that, Sikaflex it, give it a little bit of time to go off, like I say, clamp it as well. The screws will hold the frame up, and the frame will hold the plastic frame on top down as well. So I'm not super worried about that being a great contact, but it'll give a bit of suspension as well, stop any squeaking and bits and pieces like that. So yeah, let's give it a go. Okay, so just go up onto the roof now and check that it's in the right place. So because it's got a raw edge on that metal, I'm just going to get some of the hammerite. I'm going to put that on there just to make sure that we don't get any rust creeping in there. So we've got the top down view now. Like you say, you can see where I've put the hammerite on there. You can see it's pretty dirty up here. Excuse the blood marks that I left on there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some white spirit, clean up around the edges, just to give that a good surface, a nice clean for the mastic sealing strips that I'm going to put on there. Because of the ridges, like I say, following what everybody else has done when I've seen videos, and people have put this mastic sealing strip, which brings it up to the same level, so that when it goes on, then it's got no problem. So I'm just cleaning this up here. Pretty dirty. Again, problem with this winter build is I'm doing this, you know, I'm always slightly short of time, which is a bit frustrating because of the weather, or like I say, this is having to be done today, so it's meant it's a bit more panic than normal, because I'm just trying to get it all done before the sun goes down, so I can get some drying time on all the mastic, you know, before there's more moisture around. Again, it's really not ideal, but sometimes I feel like you just don't get much of a choice. So clean. Might have to wait a little bit longer because it doesn't look like that hammerite is quite up yet, but keep cleaning around whilst we can. The other thing I'm going to need to do a little bit now is key it in a little bit, just to get this mastic sealing strip to stick. I think it's a good idea that I just rough up the paint a little bit. It's got some really fine wet and dry that you can see there, so it's fold that over. Gentle rub over where that's going to go. See there, just a little bit of paint on there, so it's just keyed it in nicely, and just so it's got something to stick to. So next I've got the plastic sealing strip. You can see this is the stuff I got, and this will go in between the ridges. So if I just get this is what's going to go down over the top here, so you can see it's going to sit up on the ridges. So I just need to get some of that plastic sealing strip in between the areas where it's going to be high, just to balance it out. It's not the end of the world. You can get a frame, and you can buy a frame that goes there from Maxx Fan. But I thought, like I say, watching other people do their videos and seeing what they've done, it doesn't seem to be too much of a problem. I think it could be, quite a bit of cash and something else that I've got to fiddle with. The only downside, again, beginner's mistake, grey, not white. But again, it's not going to be the end of the world, because you're really not going to see it. So what I've got to do is cut these to length and put them in. So I'll just start doing that now. Okay, so you can see now that we've got the mastic strips on up to the level of the roof ridges. So I've got the plastic frame here. It's now going to go on. I'm just going to attach the clips, and then we're going to put this over the top, and then I can start screwing down. So to screw it down, I've got these self-tapping screws. These will then bind into the wood, hold the frame down, and then get the main bit of the fan off. Let's see how it goes. Now we just got to seat the fan. So that's all masticed in, nice and clean. Hopefully shouldn't get any leaks there. So it's only got 4 screws here that need to go in. So just got to make sure that's fully seated in. Nope. Nope. It's got to go in. Oh, yeah, no, that's okay. Inside or outside? Okay, and that is the fan in. That wasn't as easy as the manufacturers say. These screws were really difficult to get it to bed in and get it to bed down deep enough. I wondered whether I'd over tighten the screws on the surround, but I'm not sure. Not really. But just in the nick of time, with the sun going down, managed to retighten. It's got a couple of screws back here that I need to tighten with a smaller screwdriver now, so I can get under there and then re-seal it all up, recheck it, and good to go. But that's it done. So now just to take off the wrapping. And that is it on. So that's the fan install done. That was tough. I reckon that was probably, as a beginner, that was on the edge of what I'm capable of. It's all in and done now, thank goodness. Yeah, it was really tricky getting the fan to seat into the housing, as you will have seen. And I sped that footage up, and I cut some footage out as well, because I was up there doing that for ages, and my girlfriend down here as well, just working, trying to get it in. And what had happened, I think, just as a top tip for you guys, is that the housing that goes onto the roof, I think what happened was when I tightened it down, I may have over tightened slightly, which meant that it might have bowed the plastic, or the plastic might have been bowed out of the factory. So it sits in a tiny little channel. And I think what happened was it was bowed. However, whether it was me tightening it down too much or not, even though I loosened it off, which you'd have seen in the video, I think it still, had that bow to it. So we were having to wiggle it and get a really narrow piece of steel in here just to help prise it wide enough to seat down properly. Then I had to push down and just get the screw in where I could into the gap, and then use the screw to tighten it down to the housing and square it all up and do diagonal opposites and go from there. So top tip there is just check your housing before you put it up there, and see what it's like, and make sure it all kind of fits in and slots in okay, and then just don't over tighten it. So that's that done though. Big job done. Super glad. Obviously me doing that myself saved me a couple of £100 of getting a professional to do it. Hopefully it's all going to be good. I'm going to leave it to go off for a couple of days, then I get back up on the roof and just check my sealing job, because that's obviously the most important. Add any extra sealant I need. And then we are on to, I think after this, we're going to start running first fix cables, some insulation, and I'm going to have a very special roof rack build. Going to build one from scratch for myself. Again, test my abilities, and that's going to be really exciting. So see you in the next one.